Preparing to live stream. Everybody knows what this means because we're going live in 3, 2, 1, and we are live. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Chris Trammell. I'm the creator, developer, and head coach of the Author Launchpad, where I get to help authors, speakers, and experts be able to monetize their expertise in 90 days. This workshop, this past 5 days, plus one more tomorrow, has all been about you, taking your expertise and learning how to monetize it in 2024. I want 2024 to look so dramatically different than what 2023 looked like, 2022 looked like. Whenever it was that you published your book, that has been the intention of this workshop, and I'm so grateful that you've given me your time and your listening to be able to deliver this to you. Now, you know I take off just like a rocket, just like a horse, right out of the gates. Slow down. Always check a couple things. So just like I've shown you before, part of my program is to model for you what I think works best. So I'm going to go ahead and tag into the Author Launchpad right now. And the Author Launchpad, I see that he's streaming. He's talking. Great. So I got that part working. I'm going to put him back on mute. I'm going to go to those 3 dots in the upper right-hand corner, copy the link there. And I'm also now going to post that inside of Chris Trammell Coaching. So I'm going to go where it says write something, copy, post, paste, and post. So now I'm streaming in those 2 locations, because anytime that you're going to go live, you want to make sure that you are streaming wherever people can listen to you, wherever people want to know about what you're able to do. Do not be the best kept secret. Use social media for the purposes of good that it is to be used for. And the last place that I want to make sure that I'm posted on is because who I have today, thousands and thousands of people know this gentleman. So I'm going to go ahead and also stream it directly into my main profile page. The other thing I get to do today is I'm going to make sure that if any other guests come in through Zoom, that I am able to bring them into the room with us. So allow me to back up. Why this week? Why a author launch about marketing and monetizing your expertise in 2021? Well, one of the biggest things in 2024, not 2021, in 2024, one of the biggest things that I saw when I recently went to a conference, I saw how many authors wait for someone else to say, yeah, I like it, or no, I don't like it. I'm here to interrupt that with you. I'm here to let you know you give yourself permission to take your work out to the world. You give yourself permission to create a blueprint, to create a framework, to create your masterpiece that's going to generate revenue for you. Look, book sales years ago in another paradigm was the way to go for an author. Those days have changed. And now that AI is here, if you rely on just publishing a book and allowing some publisher or PR agency who really doesn't have half the amount of personal investment into your book and your expertise that you have, you're just going to be part of that wasteland of books that sit collecting dust on shelves. Because look, a book in and of itself does not magically open itself up and start talking. We can't rub it like a genie and say, tell me what you want me to know. In 2024 and beyond, if you are not deliberately delivering and disseminating your information, you're going to get left behind. And that's why I created the Author Launchpad, to give you that opportunity to create the revenue roadmap from your book and beyond. What is the course? What's the masterclass? What's the expertise? What is the creme de la creme group signature coaching program that you could create from that? So let's talk about who I had this week, and to make sure that you get the difference of the guests that I've had, they've just been fantastic. So first one up, I want to, well, not first one up, but talking about the guests here, I'm going to share with you who we've had, and you'll also get to see one more time. If you're watching the replay for this first time, or maybe you're just picking up on this one inside of YouTube or Zoom and some of our other locations, this was the flyer that you saw out there. Very simple. I made this on Canva. I had my graphics designer go back in, clean it up. These are things that you could do low cost to promote yourself. On Monday, I had Tim Jacobs of JWC Publishing. Fantastic gentleman. He helps executives write their books. He both ghostwrites and he works on the manuscripts with you. On Tuesday, I had the genius Lisa Carroll here, who talks about creating memberships based off of your book. In the world of books, we call them book clubs. In the world of the online ecosystem, we call them memberships. Transform your book club into a membership. That's the opportunity. And Lisa Carroll, one of my coaching colleagues, one of my partners, and being able to help you grow, does that wonderfully. Wednesday, really fun day with the celebrity historian Rafi Andonian. He talked about media, how you could get yourself out there on the media if you are willing to do the work, willing to go to the small markets, willing to even start on the city local channels and grow from there. Look, very few unicorns go directly to the big leagues, show up on a camera, and deliver it out of the park. It is almost unheard of. You must sharpen your stone, and you must get great at delivering your hook and your difference-making topic, right? So Rafi, extraordinary at doing that. If you want to follow up with him, I'm going to have links following all this week. Yesterday, what a fun day yesterday. I had the authors, if you could see me holding up this book, of Lead It Like Lasso. Marty Stockman and Nick Coniglio came on. They were exceptional. They were really talking about what it takes to lead like Ted Lasso and why optimism is not being a pushover. It's not being soft. It's being able to create a vision for your team and to hold it in the face of all the adversity that leadership and organizations face. And they illustrated that beautifully. And I really invite you to watch yesterday's live stream. Today, I've got one of the most handsome people, because anytime he calls me, I say, handsome. Dr. Melvin Allen is going to be on today talking about relationships, depth psychology, spiritual psychology, and what it is to create an intimate group coaching program. You don't always have to be big. So for those of you that might have a little introvert or introvert partner where something more intimate, 10 to 12 is your thing, we're going to talk about that. Tomorrow, an honor that I have on Saturday, this has been moved up to 11 a.m., is Dr. Jody Bear of the Healthpedia Publishing and Book. She launched this beautiful book right here. Look how thick this is. It's thick because she has all of these geniuses, contributors in this book saying this is what's going to make health and wellness be that next frontier for us. These are the things that you should be doing for your well-being. And she's going to be kicking it off in Boca Raton, Florida from February 22nd to the 25th. And I get to write the programs, the courses, the master classes for these authors to make sure that they get to go from book to wall to world and creating revenue beyond their wildest dreams because they said yes to putting something out there. I'm so excited to be able to do that. All right, now let me back out of this for just 1 second. I'm going to hit stop right there. I heard that we have a guest coming in, so I'm going to allow that guest to come in. As long as I'm still on Spotlight, it's fine. So who am I? Last part before we get kicked off, I gave you a little bit about me. I got 1 minute to put it in there. Quickly, what can I say? I'm Chris Trammell. Long ago, I was a track and field coach. I was the curriculum writer, course developer at the Los Angeles Zoo High School. I coached track and field for about 20 years. I've done the Ironman twice. I've been a triathlete. I'm a dad. I'm married. I'm married and doing well because of the gentleman that's on today. I was very much a late bloomer. And inside of all that, I wrote a book called Living Your Life's Work. Now, this is the advanced reader copy. For all of you authors, please don't try and go directly to a finished product. Create your advanced reader copy, get copies of it, send it out for endorsements, edits, elevations, where people are going to contribute to you so that your book will make a difference. This is my advanced reader copy. You'll see it coming out in the middle of the year because I'm going to show you exactly how I'm using the same strategies, the same tips that I'm doing to launch myself. So you can watch me like looking into a fishbowl. How did he do it? How did he do it? I'm going to show you. And this live launch is part of that strategy. Now, who are my influences? Well, one of my biggest influences out there, because I believe that everybody is out to close that journey for themselves, oftentimes known as the hero's journey by Joseph Campbell. We're going to talk about Jungian Psychology Day with Dr. Melvin Allen. Those are two of my big archetype influences where I get to look at people. I get to look for the golden thread because it's not just your expertise that people want. They do want your solutions, but they want you. That's an intentional pause. They want you. Why do they want you? They want your experience. They want your education. They want your engagement. They want to know, are you equipped to lead me and answer this calling that I'm trying to answer for myself? And when you're able to show up and say, yes, I'm that person. See, when it's the head and it's just information, they'll go a couple chips in. I'll spend some money on it. But when it's your smarts with your brand promise, your commitment to someone else, they go all chips in. I want to get you out of just domain of smarts and move you into the domain of being difference maker. Because when you go from author writer to author difference maker, author coach, your world will transform. Your finances will never look the same. I promise you. Okay. And really a lot of that comes from some of this other work that I've done. Last part, just a couple clients I've had, books that we're working through right now. Lori Bruton, working on the Lori Factor, Live the Life You're Born to Lead. One of my favorite TED Talk coaches. John Bates, colleague that I've had, big contribution to my life. Another gentleman, Jeff Cohen, whose book Count Audible, how he talks about creating teams of the future and having people be put into places similar to like traction, where can you rely on them for what they are great at? Stop setting people up and putting them in places they're not great at. And Melvin and I are going to talk about that in just a few moments, because sometimes we put people into positions that they are not wired or equipped to be at. And Jeff takes that sort of idea and delivers that to organizations so that people can say, this is what I'm accountable for, and this is what you can count on me for, right? Give people that space. The last thing I'd like to share with you before we kick off at high speeds, just a few others. Again, look, last year I read this book, made a huge difference to me. The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. He also does his own audiobook. I invite you to read it. If you're going to go out like, how do I market? How do I market? Start here. Take one action that he gives you and lean into it. And I'll tell you, his biggest thing is it's all about you. And actually, Grant would say it like this: it's all about you, baby. It's all about you. If you ever listen to Grant Cardone, that's how he does it. Okay, the next that I was trained and developed by as well, Tony Robbins. He's doing a launch right now. So if you're on YouTube or any Tony's channels, I had the fortune. I've loved Tony for years, and then when the pandemic hit, they needed coaches to be trained, so I got trained in the Tony Robbins Coaching Academy. And then who do I model what I do so that you could grow up and be part of that 7-figure group? Kelly Roach. She is outstanding. Her model for the live launch is extraordinary. I highly recommend that you follow her. And if you need a link or a conversation to be part of her group, let me know. I've got that link for you, because this live launch model is how I watched her go from mid 6 figures to an 8-figure company in 6 years. Just showing up, doing one thing, one strategy, all in, trusting herself, and just delivering over and over and over. Practice, practice, practice. Iterate, 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 get better, get better, get better. That's what it is. When you're looking for the secret sauce, one more time, you might have heard me say it yesterday. It's kind of built into scripture, where at one point in time, the apostles are asking this Jewish carpenter, where do I find heaven? How do I get into heaven? And he says to them, lo, look, it's right there. It's right inside you. Like, whoa, shocking. It is. It's always been. Own this first and then go out to the world and deliver what you're great at. And if you're going to do it, we got to talk about performance. Last piece today. Look, you could have purpose. You could have passion. You could have a platform. But if you do not know how to get out there and deliver with an element of performance, now I'm not saying dance on TikTok. I'm not saying to do the boogie woogie. I'm talking about being able to show up and deliver your best, to practice your craft, to remember that for every hour talk you're going to be on stage, there's at least 10 hours of practice that people never see. That is delivering performance. And that comes from my track and field background. It comes from my years of being in the Ironman. And it comes from being a head coach for some of the largest programs for Landmark Education, right? So, all right. I think I've given you a little bit about me. And it is time to bring on one of my most favorite people in all the world. And I've just stacked all my books on top of my notes. But let's go ahead and do this right now. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I have the fantastic, globally known, because he's coached from everywhere from Portugal. He's been to Africa, South Africa. He lives here on the West Coast. I am blessed to have him as one of my mentors in my life. Again, without this gentleman, I would not be married, happily married. And really, you know, we're going to talk about a few things. And we're going to go around a couple places because you'll learn that he and I both share a certain typology, but we take off. So today I get to bring in Dr. Melvin Allen, one of the most fantastic people I know. And I'm going to let you hear about his credentials because I tried to say him last night. I messed him up. He's a graduate of Pacifica. He's a graduate of USM. He's got a business administration degree. He's a veteran of the United States Army, and he gives and he gives. He's a hospice volunteer. He's just like one of those great people. With that being said, Dr. Melvin Allen, welcome to the Author Launchpad, how to market and monetize your expertise in 2024. I'm grateful to have you here, Mel.
Wow, Chris, after that, I could just listen to you for the next hour. You just knocking it, bam, bam, bam. Woo! A lot of things you said I did not know. So, yeah, good to be here.
Oh, awesome. Thank you very much. Well, let's like I said, oh, watch this, Mel. So for all of you watching, if you do not have the workbook, look for a link below or reach out to me. I'll send you the workbook. Each day has been an opportunity where guests get to write down the ahas, right? Because we know that any aha that does not have an action behind it ends up in the graveyard of good ideas. Right? So,
absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, get your paper out. You see that handsome guy? He is about to deliver right now. Okay? And talk about relationships, being an author. We're going to cover a few things. So we're going to make sure we cover the part about books. We're going to talk about a book business. We're going to make sure we talk about his life work, and we're going to dive into a few other things as well. But I want to make sure this is valuable to the listeners, and you also get to learn about us. So Mel, what would you like to jump in first? Why don't we entertain, let's do the basics one. What are your credentials, please? I know you got a number of degrees. Let's start with that.
Okay, I have 4 degrees. My bachelor's degree is in organizational behavior. And like you were saying, because, our relationship, one thing leads off to another thing that leads off to other things, and things sometimes tie together. So who knew that taking a degree organizational behavior 1,000 years ago? By the way, I'll be 77 in May, so I think I can say that I've gotten to the wisdom years of being able to look back at all my life and see what worked, what didn't work, what would I change, and then it all comes back to what he said. It always seems to come back to you, and you being able to be who you are more than anybody else, and being an expert on you, because when you can know who you are and what works and what doesn't work, then you have more peace and freedom, because there's integrity in being who you are. And you can't be anybody else anyway. So as I'm listening to you, you said a lot of different things that made me just trigger. So first of all, like the education, 4 degrees, like you said, knowledge without application is a waste of time. So, having degrees are great. Like we said, the books. When I was doing my dissertation, one of the things I was reading, I came across is that most people do not read books. Most people do not read at all. And the average college graduate that after they get their degree, read one book, one more book, period, total, one book in their life. So the chances of someone reading a book and taking the time to sit down and read, not very likely. But to listen to someone or to watch someone is like television, is being entertained. And once you get that, like you're talking about, Chris, once, I can listen to a podcast or I can look into something live and be far more entertained and hear a lot more words per minute than I would if I was trying to just read something, digest it. And then after you close the book, you might come away with one thought. One main thought for the book might be the best you can possibly do. Now, for example, one of the things I learned from a seminar 1,000 years ago, that most people are not good at everything when it comes to running a business. 80% of the people that go into business the first 3 years bomb. Why? Because most people have maybe some expertise, but they don't have the expertise to be the accountant. They don't have the expertise to be the marketer. They don't have the expertise to know how to do technology. You got all these different things that you think that you're going to do when you go into the business, but it's found out that, most of the time you spend 80% of your time doing something that you're good at. No, you spend 80% of your time doing something that you're not good at. 20% of your time is what you're good at. So what happens to the 80%? It puts you out of business because you're not good at it. So usually what happens is that either you don't know what to do or you're not doing a good job. That's why coaches are so important, because if you knew what to do, you'd be doing it. And if you're doing it and don't know how to do it effectively to be successful, then that means you probably need some help. Einstein said the mind that created the problem is not capable of solving it. So why do you think that you can see your eyebrows, which is one of my Melvinisms, you can't see your eyebrows, and think you know what you're doing and what you're not doing? So my degree is in depth psychology, which is a study of the unconscious. It's not what you know, it's what you don't know that gets you in trouble. Because if you know it and you think you know it, you start to get cocky. Oh, I know this. But what most of us don't know is what we don't know that we don't know, and we can admit that. I don't know how to do that. So if you don't know, you go get help. Somebody like him I'm listening to be able to say, oh, this is how you do that. So those 80% of the people go out of business, and you're spending your time doing something that you don't like in your business. Like, that's no passion. So what you do is there's some things that you're good at, and there's some things you're good at that you can do, but you don't want to do. Then there's some things you're really good at that you really enjoy. You want to change it around doing things that you got to do to things that you're really passionate about, and do what you are really good at and find that secret sauce like he's talking about. So that's what you do, and everybody knows this is what you do. You sleep better, you're happier, but you got to get to that point of being able to do that. And I don't know too many clients over 25, 30 years that can do that by themselves. Can't. So just the mere fact that you're doing this, Chris, is like, wow. I'm impressed.
Mel.
Impressed. Oh, what would you like to talk? What should we talk about before we say hello?
Right, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you catching, we just left the station, and this is how we do, and we take off like that fast. And I do want to unpack all of that brilliance that you said, because you laid out our next 40 minutes. Let's go back to the book part, because I do want the authors that are watching to be able to hear, and they definitely heard where they've been spending time where they're not great at. And one of the things that I notice for authors is they go deep into this tunnel of writing, because the writing feels good. It's very reinforcing as we get these chapters done. So we go deeper and deeper and deeper into this intellectual tunnel, but it doesn't build the muscle of the extrovert. It doesn't build the muscle. So when someone comes out of the tunnel with a beautiful book, and they're like, hey, I published a book, but you're standing in the Hollywood Bowl and no one's there. I printed a book. Now what? I printed a book. Did you do marketing while you're writing your book? I printed a book. Do you have an audience for it? Right? So talk about first, what had you and this beautiful woman, got to acknowledge your wife, she's Dr. Sharon Allen as well. Two doctors. I was always calling her Miss Sherry Allen, but yes, Dr. Sherry Allen as well. What first had you both choose to write a book? And then second, I want to hear about the co-authoring process, because these two, with all that love and that heart shape right there, they are as different as night and day sometimes.
No, most times, just like all the time. Oh, it's night and day, night and day. So, first of all, my wife was an inspiration for the book because she felt like, if you get a PhD, you have to have a book. Because I think a lot of us think, well, I got to have a book. I got to have a book. I got to have a book. And people used to, interview us and say, do you have a book? And sometimes we had opportunities to be on television. I said, you got a book? And they kept saying that to the point that she felt that if she had, first of all, if I get the PhD, that's it. And then it's like, oh, if I get the book, that's it. And then I forget that was say, well, wait a minute. What happens after you get the friggin' book? It's like getting the book and getting a PhD is like, I can have 50 degrees. And so what? What am I doing with them? Am I looking to monetize? Am I looking to help, looking to serve, or just look good so that when I sign something, I can say, doctor, what are you doing with that? What difference is it making? Your life or someone else's life? So she felt that getting a PhD was important. Then after she got the PhD, somebody said, do you have a book? Then she pressed me and beat me. Okay, now we got a book. Now what? I see the book as a business card. It's something that you use to introduce yourself to a television show, introduce yourself to someone when they say, do you have a book? But also gets you grounded in what it is that you're passionate about. And being able to put that passion in words and make a book is one thing. But if that passion doesn't come out to be able to share that with other people, then you might as well be in a closet, reading the book to a bunch of cats. You just got to do something with it, because I think our passion for what we want to do and the difference we want to make can't come from writing a book. It's got to come from being able to share the knowledge that you have. One of the things I learned, and someone told me a long time ago, I can't steal it. It says, you can never satisfy all of the people in the world that want what you uniquely have in your lifetime.
Wow.
There are more people who want what you have than you'll be able to serve in a lifetime. 1 billion, 2 billion, 5 billion, 10, 15. How many people want what you uniquely have? And no two people are the same. But for someone to know, UPS is not going to knock on the door and say, we want to buy 500 books for some strangers. They're not going to do that. Amazon's not going to call you and say, can we buy 500 books from you? They're not going to do that.
No,
somebody's got to know you even have it. And if you don't have a roadmap for doing something bigger than reading it, get one to your mother. And your wife's got one and she's going to give it to her mother. And by the time you got through with your relatives, you sold 10 books. What? But if you take that book and use it as a calling card to be able to create seminars like Chris is saying, or to be able to create, whatever, television shows. I don't care what it is. You can say, I have a book. You got an agent, first thing, you got a book? If you got a book, relaunch the book. But the book is always tied. And nobody reads the book, but it's a calling card. So using that book not as the end, but the beginning of a journey, author, now what? It's like a chapter in your life. The book is just a chapter. Now that's done, what's the next chapter? And if you don't have a purpose, or you don't have a routine, you don't have a structure, you don't have a plan, you don't have a blueprint, then your 10 best friends who bought those books probably won't even pay for the cost of even producing the book. And you're not making money, you're not in business. Being in business is about making money. And if you're not making money, it's a hobby. Have fun. Call it a hobby, but don't call it business. You're an author, you wrote a book. Okay, now what?
So good, man. So good. Ladies and gentlemen, you are getting why I love showing up for the past 12 years, almost 2 Wednesdays a month in this gentleman's living room with a number of other individuals, because he delivers it straight, but he's not like some of the others who deliver it straight with a little bit of sandpaper and they use the chisel so that you get it. He delivers it with polish, with love, a little bit of sweet, warm chocolate mixed in there, and laughter. So anybody who needs to learn how to deliver like, the way Mel is, I would invite you to reach out to Melvin Allen. Now, he talked about something that I had to step in and say, yes. Inside of the Author Launchpad program, Melvin, you exactly spoke to one of the things that I noticed most authors do not have, is they do not have a revenue roadmap that says, what do I do after I market my book? And the three phases I created, because this is what I saw was missing. What are you going to package from your expertise in your book? How are we going to market it? How are we going to get it out there? What is the lead magnet? How are you going to show up? Do you got the muscles to start to show up on camera? Do I need to coach you on delivering on camera? Do you have a funnel in there? And then next, you still got to test it out. Everybody's got to go through beta. You got to test it out with some people and say, oh, I need to reiterate that bombed, or that was really good. You got to be able to host workshops and move people from engagement into clients. And that's how we start to be able to develop a larger one-to-many program. So Melvin, thank you for, yes, that is critical, that, you know, that when people say start with the end in mind, it's not just start with the end in mind of a book, it's start with the end of mind now in 2024 and beyond, of the business, of the platform, of the difference I'm going to make from my book. So let's take that. Wait, before we jump, how was it working with your wife to co-author this book? Because I remember a few times where you might have been behind on your chapters and someone else had all of her homework done. How was that?
So I was getting ready to say before you said that my experience of dealing with thousands of people, I'm a master Myers-Briggs practitioner. So what that means is I'm a personality expert, and I'm listed on the Myers-Briggs website as one of maybe 23 in California and 240 in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. So there are very few people that take Myers-Briggs and typology to the level that I do. But let me say this to you. Introverts and extroverts are two different animals. An introvert is a person who can sit down and write and be very comfortable in the bedroom on the computer and do whatever they do, and they'll be happy as a pig in slop. I won't say shit. So a pig in slop, and they'll be very happy. You just slide the food under the door, and they'll just keep working, keep working, keep working. But if it comes to expressing themselves or talking to people, they can't even blow their nose. So being an introvert is usually the characteristic of a lot of authors, because it's a solo sport. If you want to participate in something, go play football. Okay, you go do something in a group, or do something in a sport, or soccer. That's a group activity, team sport. But an author can squirrel away and just chisel. And don't be the kind of introvert where you're looking for perfection, where it's got to be just right. Because if you've been writing a book, it's the editing, it's the rewriting. And when do you stop rewriting? Put your gym shoes on and start running. Don't tell me how to jog. Put your gym shoes on and start running. Okay? Don't tell me how to run. Get out there. So an introverted personality typically would be the kind of people who need this one more than anybody else, because you do not have the ability to express yourself like this on the spot, make it up, have fun, express yourself because you're so happy and passionate about what you do. Well, who's going to know all of that by reading your book? You got to be out in front of people, talking to people, networking, finding some kind of way to monetize it, because if you're not making money, you're not in business. You got some paperweight called a book, and probably about 100 because you thought you're going to sell them real quick, and they're sitting in the closet collecting dust.
Or boxes. Yeah, there's boxes holding down something in the garage.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's crazy. So when he talks about monetizing it, so what I think you want to do is, if you want to co-author with someone, God bless you, because no two people see it the same way. Opposites attract each other's personalities, and that's what the book is about. Opposite personalities attracting each other, but then trying to figure out, knowing that we're opposites, how do we make it work? So there's a point where you get where, like, too much introversion for you might be like self-destructive. But if you have enough introversion where you got somebody that keeps you from running out every night or doing the kind of stuff that you would do if you were single, you might live longer. So you get to the point that you need a little bit of both, and you need to find that sweet spot between the introvert and extrovert so that you can kind of like work along in a relationship. Where Sherry, my wife, and I didn't have that. And we, so it took us, oh, Jesus, a year to get the book together. And then someone told her, well, I don't think I like this. She said, stop. I said, stop what? We're finished. No, we're not finished. She wanted to rewrite the book. And I went, wait a minute. So then we started again. It took
I didn't
us,
know that part.
it took,
You guys did a restart.
oh, it took us over 4 years to write something that I thought should have taken us 6 months. And I'm
Oh,
going like 6 months because it's not going to be about the book. It's what we're going to do with the book. What we're going to do with the book.
it took you 4 years, and this one I think was done in about 18 months.
So co-authoring is not something I think you really want to go look for. And if you don't have all of the knowledge, and then when it comes to splitting the money up, oh, how do you split the money up? And Amazon sends you a check. Oh, here's your 50% of nothing, and here's my 50% of nothing. You get your nothing. And okay, every month you're waiting for a check, and it says you didn't sell anything this month. Well, didn't nobody know you had the book? Nobody, you didn't tell anybody about your knowledge and your passion. You didn't share it. So introverts found it very difficult to do that. So that was the kind of experience it was like for both of us to work on the book. And then it got to a point where I just said, I'm out, I'm done. And then I just said, you know what, give it to so-and-so who happened to be the dissertation chair for Sherry at Pacifica graduate. She now has a publishing company. I said, do it. And she finished it up, polished it up, and said, okay, great. And then pushed the button, paid for it, and boom. But what we've been able to, utilize the book for is that it's an introduction. Right now, we're being interviewed to do a reality show.
Awesome.
And we're, like leading contenders for the job. And it's based on part of the book. So who would have known that writing this book and taking 4 years to do this and fighting back and forth with my wife and getting it done would have led to a opportunity to be on a reality show as relationship coaches and experts helping people who have certain types of relationships and and we have that expertise and background to be able to do that. But it was because of the book. So my wife was on Good Morning America, and in some kind of way, the link for who she was also tied to the book. So then it gave her more credibility. And every time somebody says something, they said, oh, and here's the book. And you never know when you're out there that one person that buys the book that says, listen, would you be interested in doing a reality show? Oh, listen, would you be interested in coming on a podcast? Would you be interested in doing a TED Talk? Would you be interested? Nobody knows this. As I said before, what you uniquely have, there are more people who want what you uniquely have than you will ever be able to satisfy in your lifetime. But they won't knock on your door and say, give it to me. You got to at least put a flag outside the door saying, look over this way, burn the building down so they at least get their attention, and then hope the fire department comes quick enough to put it out. But do something. I'm not into politics. I would be, and I am. But I mean, like, the loudest mouth seems to be the one that's heard the most.
It's darn true, man. It is
How many times have you gotten something from a political organization, a text message on your phone, or a message on someone, your robocall? They're not doing it over and over again because they have nothing better to do. They want to put it out there, put it out there, put it out there. And it's for you to decide, jump, block, and they still get through.
Yes.
But they're making a point. They're making noise. So if you're not making noise about your book, that's one thing. But making noise about who you are and what you came to the planet to do and the difference you can make with other people by your expertise, now that's the sin. So having a book, it's the message, it's not the book. Getting your message out there is what people are going to be moved, touched, and inspired by. Not the cover of the book, because you look at all the covers in the books. I bet you everybody sat down and spent let's start a focus group to see what the cover looks like. And let's look at who's going to be on the back and who's going to be. Come on, give me a break. Give me a break. But make some noise and have somebody like, oh, you got a book? Then all of a sudden they go Google, and if you Google yourself and find that your book is up there by your name, that's another way of being able to say, oh, this guy must know something. Oh, he must be somebody because. So all of that from the book, it's not the book, it's who you are and what you came here to do in your lifetime and what you're passionate about that you want to share with the planet and with everybody because that's the message, not the book. So getting your message out there and doing something what Chris is talking about and being able to go from author to being able to monetize it, not that many people are making money selling books that I know of or have heard of. But what they do with that book and how they monetize it and turn it into, an influencer or being able to do, they start small, but they never give up. You know, what Babe Ruth, you're a sports person. Babe Ruth was one of the best batters in the world, and he had only had 300 and something batting average. That means he's missed 7 times.
Right? He's striking out. Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, Mel, I want to pause. You said something really great. And I want people to anchor themselves on this because it also leads into the opportunity for having ascension programs and beginner programs. You know, one of the things, let's move a little bit into that depth psychology side, the Jungian psychology. You began the conversation by saying, I'm turning 77 in March, and I've reached the age of wisdom, which I can't find where it's either Jung or in his writings, he talks about the age of wisdom. And I believe that people have life work to do. We used to say it's either nature or nurture, right? We're born a certain way, or our environment had us be a certain way. I believe now, and I put it into my book, that there's 2 more elements of that. So we got nature, nurture. We got the assignment. You know, even though I'm a science guy, there's an assignment that we are given on this larger cosmic plan that is for us to do what you're describing. What are you here to do? Which I think transcends nature and nurture. The what are you here to do is part of that assignment. And then the part that I think Joseph Campbell was talking about, where he talked about, you know, the knock at the door, is choice. Are you choosing to do life work? Are you stepping into, this is what I'm called to do? Are you doing your life's work? So for you, Mel, I think you spoke it right now, but in your reflection, maybe a big question, what has Melvin Allen been equipped to do here in his lifetime? And I know you've got at least another 20 years. So what have you been equipped to do that you're saying, you know what, this has been my life's work?
Wow. I think I've hit, you know, it's like going down in Manhattan. If you know Manhattan, you go down the street and you can turn left at the next corner, you can turn right at the next corner. There's always another corner to turn left or right. But I think it's a conscious choice of re-choosing every time you get an opportunity. It's like if I'm an author and I'm choosing to make a difference in someone's life, are you telling at least one person new per day that you're an author? One person? That's 7 a week, that's 30 a month. That's not rocking it out the world. Are you telling everybody you know and me on the street, say, hey, I don't know if you know this, but I'm an author. My book just came out, and I just want to share it because there's some really great stuff, and I want everybody in the world to know what I'm up to and what I'm about. That would get my attention, to be able to go, what? To stop a stranger or someone you don't know, because you're so full of what you do, you cannot do anything else but that. That's the kind of person that would make a difference in being able to come with a passion that would, you know, like be shared around the world.
Yeah.
Just think about every person you met, new or old, and then it's like, oh, suppose I meet the same people. Well, tell them again. Did you buy my book? They say, yeah, I bought your book. What? Did you buy 5 copies so that you could share it with your friends? I bought 5 copies. Buy 25 and tell your 5 friends to buy 20. So it's not just, did you buy my book? You know, how can you really make a big, so I think the consciousness of what you don't know is that regardless of how crazy you may be in your way of self-expression and sharing, I don't think you can be too jealous, to be too ridiculous when it comes to doing something that you're passionate about. You came here to make a difference, and you find that whatever you're passionate about, you were able to put into words. But that's just part one. Now, part two is that whatever you're passionate about that you're able to put in words, how do you take that and then put it in the world and touch as many people as possible? That would be a worthy goal, because having a goal that big would motivate you to be able to say, I can't share this with the whole world if I'm not talking about it every day.
Mm.
And most people work, you know, like they work, you know, they work in the business versus on the business.
Yes.
On the business would be having a coach or someone be able to tell you, like you wouldn't have, how many football players do you know that don't have coaches? 2 or 3 coaches.
I've yet to meet a championship team that doesn't have a coach. But
and when the coaches come on like, coach. That coach is serving a purpose. And if you don't have one, it's like driving down the street blindfolded and wondering why you're hitting things at 90 miles an hour. So, like, that's stupid. Get a coach. Jesus. If you could do it by yourself, you would have done it like Einstein. So please get
All
a
right.
coach.
I got to bring you back to the ranch because you did what we do. Melvin Allen, what is the big life work problem that you are here to solve for people?
Relationships.
Mm,
I also say that, what you don't know is
yeah.
that you have life experiences in some kind of way seem to be interlinked in a way that you learn from it. So this is my fourth marriage. I've been married and divorced 3 times. This is my fourth one, and we're going on 24 years. And it's my last one because I'm too old to run. I used to be young enough I could take a marathon, say, get another one. Jack the Rabbit, gone. Now it's like too old, I can't leave. So what happened is that most people were too ashamed and embarrassed to talk about being divorced. They just never talk about it. What I saw was that experience, what I used to call like bad, all negative things, my wording and my way of thinking shifted from those were experiences that trained me and taught me and refined me and polished me and redesigned me to be able to talk about relationships. And they say people can be an expert by either reading a lot of books, teaching it, or from life experiences. I've done all three. But I had to go through 3 divorces to get to a point where I could talk to people and help them not get a divorce, prevent a divorce, or have them make conscious decisions in relationships where you're actually making a conscious decision to marry or partner with someone that's more compatible with you versus someone that you're in love with. Like I think you said, the head and the heart, if it doesn't go together, it's a waste of time. You can't make heart decisions. You can't make head decisions. You got to be able to do both. So when you're able to blend both, you make better decisions. But when you go through some pain, maybe that pain is like where you really, the wounded warrior. It's like that's the person that has a story to tell, and so it comes out as doing seminars for people to hope that I can help other people not have to go through what I went through. Now, how would I
right.
have known that 50 years ago? So my passion is to be able to save as many people as possible from making poor relationship decisions and choices that they usually pay for dearly at the end,
Mm,
either financially, mentally, emotionally, but you pay for it. When you know better, you can do better. When you start out right, picking the right kind of person, might not be perfect, but at least you don't throw grass seed on the concrete and wondering every morning why it's not growing. Jesus, you threw the seeds in the wrong place. So, my passion truly is, and I've noticed that it's like, oh, got a book. Now I'm taking that passion with the book and being able to talk about relationships in a different way than I would be if I was just talking. I can say I got the book. So the book is really, like I said, a business card. That's just a small part.
yeah.
What do you do with it now that you have it? And what I'm hearing you say is that, let me show you the way. And what's the price for that? Priceless. Why is it priceless? Because if you don't do it, you ain't got nothing. You're back where everybody else is. Nothing.
Exactly.
And do you love yourself enough to invest in you? Because whatever you learn from this, you're going to be able to use at the next watering hole, the next chapter of your life. And then you get old enough to see, oh, that's why I had to go see this guy and pay him $500,000 to teach me how to do this, because I needed to do this in order to start my school that I've been developing based on all the work I've done. And so now I can teach and train 250, 500 people at a WAP. Who knows what Facebook's going to look like 20 years from now? But there's a reason. I don't think there are any accidents in life. So what is the reason that you're on this call? Maybe it's just to be inspired enough to be able to say, why not? You're going to spend your money doing something anyway. Why not spend it on you? You are the best investment on the planet. It's not your
Mm,
wife. It's not the education. It's not the book, because you can't outrun your shadow. You going wherever you go. So if you don't know who you are and find out where your strengths and weaknesses are, well, good luck driving that Ferrari blindfolded. So, it really is a journey of self-discovery. And I even think the process, what you're talking about, Chris, is a self-discovery process of learning who you are and what barriers you have and what opportunities you have to overcome that make you bigger, stronger, and more forceful in accomplishing whatever your passion is. You want to
yeah.
slide through like a hot knife on butter, or you want to, drive that Ferrari down the road at 90 miles an hour blindfolded. hope you make it home. No, you want to drive the car at 90 miles an hour with the blindfold off and say, I know where I am and I know where I'm going. Knowing where you are and where you want to go, that's what coaching is. Here's where you are and here's where you want to go. And you don't know how to get there, or maybe you just need someone to hold your hand and kick you every 15 minutes. Whatever it is, doing it by yourself, I don't feel like going to the gym today. But if you're paying somebody $100 an hour and you pay them in advance, you might be motivated to get up. I know coaches that charge $150,000 to $300,000. I'm going to say it again, $150,000 to $300,000 a year.
Wow.
And I've talked to some of their clients. What a privilege. And you're going to say, when you're paying $150,000 a year, when a coach gives you homework, you don't even think about not doing it.
Right. You do it.
So the more money you spend, the more you will treasure it, the more you will value it, the more you will treat it like a diamond versus a rock. But rock's $100,000, and but a diamond's $100,000. Oh, that has value. Okay, and you pay for it. You pay for it. But what better investment can you make other than in yourself? Because you go with you wherever you go for the rest of your life, and it will be something that you'll be able to take with you. And it just makes you a much more powerful person. And like I said, more confidence, more passion, more self-expression, more integrity, more life, more freedom, all that stuff as compared to nothing but your book on the shelf that you're looking at every day and say, hey, hopefully you have company so you can say, I wrote that book.
And I want to everything to what you said. Yes. And look, for those of you authors that made it that far, that didn't use AI, that put in the work and published your first part, we acknowledge you because that took something, but it doesn't stop there. It doesn't stop there. It is the starting point for really being your biggest, everything that Mel said, passionate, difference-making human being on this planet, being a philanthropist, being a difference maker, being someone who changes lives. The book will not do it on its own. And you could hear the passion in Mel when he talks about that. Mel, I want to take something here. I want to ask you because thank you so much for everything you did. Let's talk about, what did I want to say? How are we looking on time? You and I bend time. Wow. Okay. You've been able to do exceptionally well with small groups. Why is that your sweet spot, taking your expertise? Why are small groups a good product, a good service model for you and Sharon?
So first of all, as I said before, you got to know who you are. I'm a big extrovert and I love large crowds and I love running my mouth. But I also know that I'm married to an introvert who likes small groups and doesn't like running her mouth like I do.
Right.
It's natural for me. She's got to go through a process. So we had to stay married, and the only way we could do it is to find a sweet spot for both of us. I wanted to just talk. She wanted to just talk, but we decided the smaller groups were easier to put together than larger groups, and they're more intimate. So you can go a lot deeper with 5 people than you can with 50. When you start seeing so many images on the computer, you start to say who. But if you have 5 people or 10 people or 20 people, you can start to have a relationship. And that intimate relationship is building a lifetime relationship with people so that they can support you after the course and after the book. They will be, I call angels. Everybody should have 10, if you're blessed, you got 100, 10 angels. 10 angels are the people that you know that love you, support you, and know what you do, that every time they get an opportunity, they're going to share about your book like you are. You can't do all of that by yourself, but get 10 angels of people that know who you are, that can support you, that just gonna like your road dogs, road die together, right, whatever, and have those people become your agents. So now you got 11, you plus your 10 warriors, I call them angels, who love you, sharing your work and keep them involved and say, who you got? You got a lot greater possibility and probability of being successful. Small groups, you can create those kind of intimate relationships with. Chris and I have been in a men's group together for over 10 years. It's a small, intimate, loving group of men who have been supporting each other through birth, through death, through kids. We have seen 10 to 15 years of life together. and
Yeah.
probably going to keep doing this until the day we die.
Yeah.
Those people will support you. And so you need to be able to get outside yourself, especially if you're an introvert, to be able to have 10 angels that you know you can count on. And if you get a community of 10, 20, 30 people, like we have a community of probably 100 people easily that know us and just say Melvin or Dr. Melvin, oh, I know, it's not like who? So 100 people, 500 people, it's got to start somewhere. So if you start small and stay in business, that small group of 10 will get to be 50, get to be 100, to be 300, and then you got yourself an automatic sometimes with you know that this is what you do, and here are the people you do it with. And I'll say that to say that people who seem to be the happiest and live the longest are people who have communities that support them in whatever they're passionate about.
And I want to take that really quick. Authors, create your own community. Create your own community. Your book is the flag in the ground for this type of community interested in this type of solution. Melvin and Sherry created communities around communication, self-awareness, loving, deep, close relationships, bringing in Myers-Briggs, bringing in typology, bringing in spiritual development. Create your community. Thank you, Melvin, for saying that, because we hear tribe, and I like tribe. It's kind of the fun word, build your tribe, a tribe, tribe. And I bring it back to community. Why I like community, because in the root of the word community is to commune. It is to come within. It is to bring that peaceful space. Tribe has a little bit of rah, 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 yeah, which is great. We need that sometimes. But you also need the commune when you're not feeling all cylinders firing, and you get to share to that space. So if you are somebody that wants to monetize an intimate, close-knit community, the same way you hear Dr. Melvin Allen has talked about, then look at that. But you still got to have a business for your book. Come talk to us. Build that business around your book. Don't just let it hoping that it goes out there and you hold it. You're like, book, do the work. It don't do it. Are we done? No.
Oh, I could keep on forever.
I know we keep going. So I want to bring the last piece, which has made a difference in both of our lives, which is transformation. You and I are both graduates of Landmark Education. I know you've taken a number of different, really like deep personal work through the University of Santa Monica, Pacifica, up the coast to Santa Barbara. I've done Tony Robbins, 7 Habits. But transformation, the ability to recreate yourself and to live word to world. How has that been for you, and how do you apply that inside of your business?
Wow. I think language is so powerful, and that regardless of if we're conscious or unconscious, we're using words constantly, and those words define and shape and color our worlds. And then other people can see your world through what you're painting with your words. So if you take transformational courses, you probably can realize that, having integrity means something, and being able to be maybe self-awareness means something, so that you can see that it's not so much of the issue as how you react to the issue. The house is burning down. Now, how do you react to it? Do you react and go screaming, or do you react and go get some fire, a water hose, or do you call the police, or what do you do? How you react to it? So I'm saying transformation has you get a deeper understanding of who you are, so you know your pain points and your pressure points, and knowing, And I also think that one of the things that Sherry and I talk about when we talk about community is like when you have a bunch of authors who are going through the same thing you're going through, and you're able to talk to each other, then you realize you're not on an island by yourself, and that what you're going through is normal. They can support you. That's what coaches can also do. So when you start looking at transformation is being able to take something from where it is to somewhere something is different. You can get that through taking courses. You can get that through also coaching. But it's something, it's a change agent that impacts you like a pow that makes you go, oh, I didn't know that. Well, who the hell knows everything? That's why you
Right.
want to be around other people and a community of people that can support you so that it's like if everybody's holding you up, you can't fall.
Mel, I want to make sure we drill this part. Someone who provides solutions is not providing transformation. They're providing solutions. But like Mel said, to be a permanent change agent in people's lives so that they live a life that they no longer was, whether it had parts of it that didn't work, we'll just leave it at that. There was parts of life that didn't work, and they were able to transform those habits, transform those routines, transform the communication of that paradigm to be and recreate themselves. That's transformation. So for those of you listening and you use the word transformation a little bit too liberally, a solution is a solution. It will change maybe your revenue, it will change where you live. But there's this adage that says, wherever you go, there you are. And if you have not done that deep work of transformation, you might make all the dressing on the outside look really beautiful, but the operating system here still needs to be somebody that makes a difference in the world if that's what matters to you. Would you align with that, Melvin?
Absolutely. And that's why I suggest that transformation is not like I'm done. Transformation is a lifelong journey and a lifelong commitment to that journey, and knowing that who you are at 30 is not going to be the same person at 50, at 60, and 70. Life keeps changing. The only constant we know is change. So if it's going to keep changing, being able to be, it's like I said earlier, it's not so much the situation, it's how you react to the situation that makes a difference.
Yeah. So
So
great.
being able to have that transformational support on a lifelong journey as you grow and as you expand, as you get older and you have more experiences that you can see have more impact because you're more conscious than you were before. So, you can never have too much transformation. And one of the things we do with couples that have it, we deal with premarital couples and also married couples is that we set up an annual monetize. We set up an annual like a checkup so that you come see us and spend a weekend, and then after that we set you up with an annual checkup, like you go get your teeth checked, you go and get your car
Right.
oil changed, we go do a relationship tune up just to make sure we keep our, so you monetize
Wow.
that to be able to do that. So over a period of time, how many people, if you had a workshop in 10 years, do you think you have moved, touched, and inspired to a point that if you said you had a workshop, you got an instant audience? If you say we're going to do this every year, your calendar for 2025 is already full because you got everybody in 2024 signing up for their spot for 2025. And then you got more people in 2024 to add them into 2025 and 2026. Then you get to a point that you really have a community that you created that based on your work and your book that feel
Wait,
that
hold
you
that
have a
book up.
message.
Hold that book up. Let's get this immortalized. Yeah. Okay, finish that. Land that plane, Mel. Land that
Yeah.
plane.
Yeah. So I'm suggesting that you can do it by yourself, but why would you? You name me one football player that doesn't have a coach, and I'll send you a check for $100,000. And I'm saying it on camera because I want to keep my commitment. But you won't. So you think they're stupid? You think they have the money and the resources that they're making smart decisions? So if you don't have a coach, it says a lot about you. It says a
So,
lot about you.
so
So
great.
invest in you, that says a lot about you. And what's the price? There is no price limit in investing in you because you get all the dividends, you get all the profit, and you get to keep it for a lifetime. So that transformation of being able to go from where you were to where you want to be and being conscious about it as compared to unconscious. Jung said the mind, if you're unconscious, you think it's an accident. You just don't know any better. You just don't know
Until
any
we
better.
make the unconscious conscious, we will continue to go about in life believing that
And
it's
fate, yeah. Until the unconscious become conscious, we'll live our lives thinking it was just fate. And that's not necessarily the case. There's a
learned that
possibility.
from you. I learned that
Say,
from
yeah, I know.
yep.
So all I can say is that, this is an opportunity for a lot of people to go like, this is better than a car. A car is going to die, but getting the knowledge of what you're going to do that's going to be monetized on an ongoing basis, Get you another car. Get you 2 or 3 cars. Might get you a nice girlfriend. Might get you a nice girlfriend and a wife. Who knows what you're gonna do with the money?
Or
You
a
know,
husband.
but
Let's not leave the ladies out. Might get you a boyfriend, a couple boyfriends, whatever you want. All of
yeah,
the above.
but you got the options.
You got the options. Mel, it is 1 o'clock. You and I bend time like this. We've been on for 10 minutes and it's already 1. Dana, I still see that you're on. I asked if you had any questions. I just want to make sure that if you have anything, Dana, before we go, you could jump in and share. If not, we are going to land the plane. I know she's been listening the whole time. She started her own program called B University, and it is in the world of working with women who are incarcerated and really delivering those life-changing skills. So shout out to Dana Nickerson as well. But most importantly, I want to thank you, Melvin Allen, for the generosity of your genius and the gregariousness in which you deliver it. It's just fantastic, man. And, you know, again, I am blessed to have my wife, because you were there that day that this picture happened, and this picture would not have happened if it wasn't for you, Melvin Allen. We know that. We know that.
Man,
So,
you got married on my birthday to make it even worse.
I got to get you the best gift I could give you. I got married on
May
that.
12th. May
That's
12th. I'll never forget it.
That's right. That's right. Your birthday is May, not March. May. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Melvin Allen. Him and his wife, Sherry, they have an extraordinary, intimate program to elevate relationships, to do those relationship tune-ups. And one of the things that we've learned is before you go say, I do, like some Hollywood movie stars that just do it to try it out, like you're putting on pants, you should give them a call. You really should. Or at least say, hey, can I order that book so me and my wife, me and my partner, whoever, so we could read it. And if we have some questions, we'll reach out to you. So Melvin, it's melvinandsherry.com, or is it relationship? It's melvinandsherry.com, correct?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things I also suggest is that if you're interested, Google Dr. Melvin Allen. Yeah, well, that's another thing that I would suggest. If somebody can Google you, that gives you credibility. If you have a book, they can Google you. So you don't have to go around with a business card. Just say, just Google Melvin Allen. Say what? So that book makes a difference.
And just like you said, ladies and gentlemen, your book makes a difference. And if you are unsure of what difference your book makes, there's this guy over in Long Beach that has spent his life learning how to put people into their podium moments for their passion, for their promise, and their purpose. And I would love to be able to do that with you. And whatever you need, listen to today over and over, listen to the other days. I've brought it all together so you could do that work out in the world. And if you're still unsure how to line those dots up, please reach out to me, ct@Chris Trammell Coaching, or go to the www.theauthorlaunchpad.com. You can find me there, and let's go ahead and help you get your work out to the world. As I like to say, go from wall to world with that book. We're going to print it, we're going to get it on the wall, and then you're going to deliver it and bring it out to the world, wall to world.
Love it.
Yeah. So with that being said, Mel, let's wave them goodbye. Thank you so much for joining us today. It has been a pleasure. Everybody have yourself a beautiful day. Don't forget, tomorrow we have the wonderful, the fantastic, starting her own health and wellness publishing house, Dr. Jody Bear, and I will be with her in Florida from February 21st to 26th, launching other health and wellness authors who are saying, yes, let's create programs that change lives around the world. So with that being said, we'll see you later. Bye for now.
Thank you.
All right. Stop the live stream. Bye all.